But that's
Yes, that is good with me.
okay, great. I always like to just make sure. And I know people are going to just like hop on, roll on. And it's a different time for our call, but that's no big deal. We're just so, so grateful that you are here with us tonight. So yes, I am very excited to welcome our guest to our call tonight. Before that, we do have one rank advancement recognition, which is Katie Falch, HIT Consultant. So congrats, yay for Katie. We love that first step of getting sharing products that you love. So enjoy that bonus. That's so exciting. I also heard there's only 600 tickets left for New Year's kickoff. So if you don't have your ticket yet, I would highly recommend getting that as soon as possible. I know with the holidays, it always feels like we have so much time, but the holidays hit and then it's like, boom, New Year, and we head to Arizona. So definitely recommend doing that as well. So this call, you guys, came out of, I actually got to spend a few days with James McLeod and his sweet wife, Audrey. Back just a few weeks ago now, they came to Minnesota and really graced us with some awesome knowledge, their presence, really a ton of time that they poured into the various teams here in Minnesota during the Capture the Essence tours, including our team. And I know a lot of you just, that Super Saturday, so much of the highlights for you came from James and Audrey. Her comp plan, you can tell Audrey, we have her comp plan that people use and they watch and they're learning, and it's just been of such value to us. And I really wanted James to be able to come on. I asked him, I kind of pulled him aside one night. I was like, would you be willing to do a call really geared towards the guys, towards the men? We have men who are primarily building on our team. We also have a lot of men who are spouses and they want to find their place. And maybe, so both situations. So I would just love for you, James, to kick it off with like sharing your story, and then we have just a few questions to kind of touch on, and we can even, if you guys have questions, throw them in the chat, or at the end we can also see if there are some questions. But we are very excited to have him. They are Isagenix Legacy Club members, which means they've made over $1 million in Isagenix. I also know he started when he was 22 building this business. So for you young people, they've been building for just a little over 5 years now. And he and his wife, Audrey, built this together, but he told me point blank, he would have done this forever with or without finding a spouse in Isagenix. So he really is a man driving his business alongside his wife now. They are 5-star Golden Circle and 4-star Crystal Executives. So just awesome, awesome leaders hailing from Tennessee. So James, I'm so happy that you're here with us.
Well, thank you, Allison, and hello. Love seeing the beautiful faces on this Monday night. I know that you guys have moved the call time a little bit, and I greatly appreciate that. I know that it was probably a shift in most of y'all's schedules, but I am just incredibly honored to be here serving you guys and just giving whatever information that I can to help us all kind of continue to grow. So thank you guys for having me.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. You're so welcome. Absolutely. Thank you. So yeah, I would love if you could just kick it off with like starting out with your story, just a little bit of your story, where you came from, how you landed here.
Perfect. So like Allison was saying, my journey started about five and a half years ago. Actually, 5 years. My first event ever was New Year's Kickoff 2014. And so going into this New Year's Kickoff, I guess we'll be starting my 5th year there. But prior to Isagenix, like she was saying, I was 22, so I was in college. And to rewind the clocks about a decade, I always had this dream inside of my heart of this huge, vivacious, free life. And I didn't know exactly what the job looked like, obviously what the marriage looked like. I was 12 or 14 when I was envisioning this life for myself. So there was a lot about life that I didn't know. There's still a lot about life that I don't know. But I had this dream that I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to experience all of these different people groups. I wanted to see cultures and see, all the Google images that people search for of like most amazing places in the world. Like I wanted to go to those places, and all the while wanted to somehow bring a service to people. fast forward, I was able to do some traveling after high school. It was the most life-changing stuff ever. But once I got into college, I just kind of felt like that dream was just kind of suppressed a little bit. Does anybody else feel like their dream at one point has been just kind of almost like somebody was saying, shh, 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 like quiet, quiet. Okay, yes. So I'm not crazy. I'm not the only one that's in that. Thank you guys. And I had heard of network marketing. Well, I take that back. I had heard of multi-level marketing, or MLMs, and I had seen the concept, and it had never really gelled with me. It never really sung to me. Now, I was a psych major, so I love people. I love, the interpersonal, communicative stuff that goes on between two individuals. That fired me up, and I've always loved relationships and kind of cultivating relationships with people. But what I found was that everybody that was in multi-level marketing or in direct sales, it just all seemed like smoke and mirrors. It just all seemed like fluff. It all seemed like hype. And comment in the chats if you can agree that if you've had an experience or in the past life or whatnot where you just felt like it was all smoke and mirrors. I couldn't get a straight shot out of anybody. One of my biggest pet with people about, in different industry or different companies within the industry is that I couldn't get a ballpark on how much these individuals who were crushing it were actually making. That was probably the most infuriating aspect of the whole thing. Was I would say, okay, we're sitting here at dinner, Greg, you're showing me your product line, you're showing me your comp plan. Like, okay, you say you're doing pretty well with this. Like, how well are you doing with it? Well, I've signed up 7 customers this month, and so I've just qualified for a $25,000 bonus, and I have the potential of earning a cruise for the end of the year with my wife and I. Okay, well, that's great, Greg, but you just said 2 pretty vague statements there that really didn't tell me about how much you were bringing home. Well, and they just kind of dodged it. Has anybody else had conversations like that with people prior to Isogenics? Okay, so that was me. And I gave it the benefit of the doubt, and I tried some other products. I tried products and by the end of it, I said, okay, if this is what this industry is about, I want nothing to do with it. If this is what this is about, a ploy to kind of suck people in with cool terminology, cool graphs, and this, really obtuse product and a like trigonometry type compensation plan, I don't want anything to do with it. And so I lumped the whole caboodle of direct sales. I didn't even know the difference between multi-level marketing and network marketing, but I just lumped everything in there. And I said, that's not for me. Never going to do that. And in fact, I had a pretty adverse taste in my mouth just because some of my friends had tried to get me into their own companies. So fast forward, I'm going through college. I'm a junior in college. So I got about 12, 16 months left before I'm an adult, before I get kicked out and start living this life that, everybody says is great. Some people say it's scary. Some people say, they wish they could go back in time and they're trying to, go back and stay in school. And here I am, a psych major. I'm waiting tables. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. But on top of that, I'm waking up tired every single day. I have no energy. My health, I feel like, is already on the downslope. I'm 22 years old. So I'm thinking to myself, certainly my health hasn't peaked at 22. And I just kind of was having this internal conversation of, this cannot be as good as it gets for me. This cannot be as good as it gets. And so my little sister, I have 4 sisters. I'm one of 5 kids. My little sister came to me one day and she said, James, I think I found something. I think I found something that's going to allow you to live the life that you've always wanted to live. Now, her and I were best friends growing up. We were homeschooled up to 9th grade. We were best buds. So I was like, oh, yes, let's go, Al. Okay, like, what did you find? Who did you talk to? What kind of in do you have? Let's do this. And so she started talking to me about what, I came to find out was Isogenics. And I said, whoa. Is this like direct sales? Is this like multi-level marketing? And she was like, no, like, I think it's kind of different. And I was like, no. Allie, you've been tricked. This is not, these things don't work. And she was like, no, James, I actually think I think this one works. I think this one's different. And I said, no. They all say that. They all say they're different. This one's not. And that was kind of the end of it. I was really hard on her. The conversation went way more aggressive than that, but I'll just spare the theatrics for tonight. And I wanted nothing to do with it. But the problem was that the pain in my life continued to grow. I wasn't even living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have enough money at the end of the week to pay for my own groceries. And as a 22-year-old, I was living out the glamorous life of what they call a broke college student. And I hated it. I wanted nothing to do with it, but I felt so trapped. I couldn't change anything because when I went in and waited on tables, my income really was dependent on the section that I got. Do we have any servers on the call? Do we have anybody that's waited tables before? You know that there's the premium sections, and then there's the section that no server in the restaurant wants because it's drafty or it's by the kitchen or by the bathroom, and nobody wants that. Or it depended on the day of the week, the weather, the time that my boss told me to come in. And I remember I wanted to go home back to Nashville, where I'm from, one weekend. I wanted to go see my family, and I asked off, and my manager called me in the office. He said, "James, you're not able. I can't approve this request off because we need you on the, in the restaurant this weekend." And I remember thinking and leaving, and I was like, I am a grown human being, and I cannot stand the fact that somebody else is telling me what I can and can't do with my time. And I'm dependent on it because I need the money. I need it. It's not, I was so furious. And so I left there. Lily and I circled back around. She said, "Listen, the only reason why you're at where you're at right now and why I'm where I'm at is because I said yes to this and you didn't. Isogenics works, James." And I said, "Wait, hold up. Are you making money with this?" Guys, she was 19 years old. She was going to the same college that I went. I know everything about her. I've grown up with her. I said, "Hold on. You're making money with this?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Okay, all right, give me a break. Let's do this." And she said, "First thing we got to do, we got to get you to New Year's kickoff. We got to get you to an event." And that changed everything for me. I got to that event. I saw the speakers. I heard the stories, and I said, okay, this is nothing what I thought it would be. I went, ended up going Crystal Executive in the next 6 months. I was able to pay for my entire last semester of college, in 1 week's pay with Isogenics at 22 years old. And I was done. I was totally undone. And like Allison said, if Audrey and I had never met, which we met, she was that first opportunity overview. Audrey was the one that walked in the room and did the opportunity overview. So it's pretty cool how our love story kind of came about. But I was so hooked on the freedom and the opportunity and the level playing field and the timing of this company that I was done. I said, okay, if this can actually work, then I'm going to make it happen. If it's up to me and the work that I'm willing to put in and the growth that I'm willing to have in myself, I'm going to crush this thing. I know it. If it's up to me, I can do this thing. And I'm willing to bet on myself versus willing to bet on my, boss or somebody else to see potential in me and give me the promotions and give me the opportunities to do what I feel like I'm capable of. And so, 5 years later, like Allison was saying, we hit millionaire this past year. I was 26 years old, and has it been easy? No, no, it absolutely has not. Have I lost a lot of friends? Have I made a lot of sacrifices? Have I failed more times, you guys, than I can possibly count? Absolutely. But it has been worth every single second of it. And I honestly, as authentically and real as I possibly can say, I am more fired up about where this company and where this opportunity is right now, 5 years in, than I was the first day that I started and I sat across the table from Herb Cepeda and he told me everything that I needed to know about this business. What is happening right now has me losing sleep almost every single night. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of it. But I came in as a huge skeptic. And here's a fun fact, I actually sent my products back. I saw Andy raise his eyebrows. He goes, "Oh, he sent his products back." I'm actually one of the people that sent my products all the way back and actually got them fully refunded. So that's a little bit of my story. And it's been a wild ride.
That is so good. Your story never gets old for me. I seriously love it. And I think there's a few clues in there, you guys. So, you hear, he said, they all say they're different. And that is what we're up against, right? Like all these companies say they're different. And it's like, we know we have something special here, but that's a common thing that you're going to hear and feel. And I think, the fact that he needed to see his sister's success in order to be that catalyst for him, it's like he needed to see her be successful. So like, who in your life needs to see you be successful to some degree? Not everyone's going to say yes right away. They may need to see a certain threshold of success in you, which I just think is so powerful. The fact that, yes, Barbie, took the words out of my mouth. Everyone has a threshold. Like they need to see a certain level of success. Some people will say yes right away and be those early adopters, but some you got to say, okay, fine, I'm going to keep going, but I'm not going to dwell on that. I'm going to keep going. His little sister kept going, and then he was able to say, wait, this is actually working for you. And he couldn't get it out of his head once he did, because there are people like James out there who want what we have, right? So yeah, James, no, that's awesome. That was so good. So what is your best advice? If you think back to building as a guy, maybe before Audrey, I mean, because you became successful before Audrey. So what is it that what's your best advice for guys who are building this as a primary builder? And then we will get into, if you're a spouse, as a spouse, but as a primary builder, speak to those first.
Yeah. So, show of hands, how many single guys, or how many guys do we have building this kind of on their own, flying solo? Do we have many people? Okay. We got Drew.
We definitely have at least, 2 or 3 on here, and the chat's going too. I don't know if you ever chat up, but the chat is going.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. I will pull that up as well. Yeah, I see it. Okay. So when I started, one of the best pieces of advice that Herbie gave me was, you've got to have thick skin. Listen. I just want everybody, even the guys, especially the guys, to listen. If you are on this line, who for instance, for first, wants this to be a full-time income where they can have limitless possibilities, limitless, they can do what they want when they want, with whoever want. Okay, everybody on this line, everybody listen to the recording. Then hear me when I say, because I have that dream too. If I have the audacity to dream such a dream, and to have as big and as lavish of a life of being able to do what I want with who I want for as long as I want without having to worry about time or money, if I have the audacity to send that out there and say that that's what I want, you better believe I am going to have to eat crap for a while to get to a place where I can do that. Guys, being able to have that type of, what I call an autonomous lifestyle is, we know that it's such a gift. We've seen all of these amazing stories, but it doesn't come shy of amazing sacrifices. And I think sometimes, especially with the young people, that when I first started, they thought it was just going to be, hey, I'm going to talk to 3 or 4 or 5 people. I'm going to get them in. They're going to blow this thing up, and we're going to break the internet with some social media and whatnot. And then we'll be gazillionaires and all go to Maui and hang out. So I just heard, Drew, you got back from Maui. So you have me thinking about the islands. That's kind of, and we might not say that, but if we're really honest with ourselves, do some of us maybe think that this should happen quicker than it is happening? If we're really honest with ourselves, does anybody feel like it should be happening quicker than it is? Okay. I know for me, that's something that I struggle with. And I just want to exhort you and challenge you. If you're on this line and you are saying to yourself that I want to live a completely free life, there is a price to pay. There is a price to pay of sweat equity, of personal development, of unbelievable resilience and thick skin. You better believe, if you want to have these, the whatever it is that you define your success, there's going to be people that are going to be throwing arrows at you non-stop. I just had a guy just the other day. I hardly know the guy, and he's talking to all these people in our town, telling them that he thinks I'm a shady person, that they should stay away from me because I'm a shady person. Stuff, people are going to talk, right? We know that. But sometimes when we get into isogenics, we can think that this isn't working because it's not happening fast enough. But we've got to remember, what we're dreaming is so incredibly big, and we are asking so much. We really are. If you're able to have residual income coming in, just residual income, if you're making $100 a week of residual income, guess what? You are so blessed. You are so incredibly blessed. So for the guys on here, what I'm circling around to is, you need to have such an unbelievable amount of resilience. Because as a single male, I know I had to work harder for credibility. I had to work more diligently and more consistently to build that trust, to build that rapport with people. Because guess what? the guys, we know guys communicate way differently on social media than females do. I look at Audrey's inbox and the messages that she has coming in, and it's just like, I would kill for messages like that. These girls are like, oh my gosh, Audrey, I've been following your journey. I feel so down on myself. I would love to connect. And like, oh, you inspire me. Guys are like, what's up? What's your thing? Like, what are you trying to sell me? And like, it's no matter how you cut it, no matter how, like open I am, that's how the narrative can be for us guys. So with that, if I'm prospecting a female and I'm a single guy, 90% of them are going to think that I'm hitting on them with a business opportunity, right? And that drove me up the wall to no end. And then the guys, I had to really build that rapport and those relationships over a long period of time. Now, here's what I'll say. One of the things I wasted a lot of time on. I wasted a lot of time on people that I should have never been trying to attract in my business. What do I mean by that? I saw somebody with a great physique. I saw somebody with a lot of followers, or, that had good swag or whatever. And I said, ooh, I want that guy, or I want that girl. But I really didn't do my due diligence and get to know them at all. And have you guys done your kind of executive launch? Or I'm sure you guys, Allison, has had you write down your 10 or 20 characteristics that you are looking for in your ideal business partner. What I would find is these people, the very first quality that I look for in somebody is open mind. I need somebody. If they don't have an open mind about Isagenix, guess what? They're not going to have an open mind about cleansing. They're not going to have an open mind about shake days. They're not going to have an open mind about auto ship. And I'm going to have to convince them for everything. And so, but all these people that I was trying to talk to and trying to, get on the phone with, they didn't have an open mind. So guess what? Those people are screaming to you, I'm not your person. I am not who you're trying to look for. And instead I would try and just, cultivate, try and try. Meanwhile, there's all these other people out there that would love to have me reach out to them, or love to know about Isagenix, who are open, who are hungry, who do have a drive and have a zeal and have a need. And I'm just fixated on this one person who I think would be good. But the one thing or a couple things, they don't have an open mind. They're not charismatic. They're not humble, and they're not coachable. So what I would say for the guys is you got to have a level of resilience, like an uncanny level of resilience. I know for my generation, we quit at a lot of things. The average job expectancy is 36 months for millennials. 36 months for a job, not a new startup, a job. Is 36 months. So you look at somebody, something like this, you've got to lay those expectations as far as, if I really do want this, if I really do want this freedom lifestyle that I am professing that I want, part of what comes in that territory is the late nights, is the early mornings, is the unbelievable amount of phone calls, is the return processing of people sending their products back, is all of that. It all comes with the territory. And it's a great thing, and it's a beautiful thing. But most people don't want to accept that part. They just want to accept like the money and like all the glory that comes along with that. So I know that was a really long answer, Allison. I'm sorry, but there's a lot that can be unpacked with that question.
Oh my gosh, there's so much. And there are two kind of sub questions that came out of it in the chat. So Boomer, who is a guy, said, you said it was worth it to get to where you are, including losing your friends. Expand on why you lost friends, and would you do it the same way if you had to do it over?
Yes, Boomer, thank you for that question. So I lived with 7 other guys in college. We lived in a house. I slept next to, I slept in the same room. We all bunked up and whatnot, college lifestyle. And some of these were my best friends, like ride or die. And I got started in Isagenix, you guys, and I did a video about this in our team page. I didn't get started for anybody else. I didn't get started for the recognition. I didn't get started for the approval of other people. I got started because I wanted freedom. I desperately desired freedom in my life at a level that I had never known before. And so I came home and I'm fired up about Isagenix. Now, mind you, some of my other roommates had previously tried, and I had tried some of their products, other multi-level marketing companies. So I came into this and I'm just like lights out, like I'm laser focused. Nobody's going to tell me that I'm not going to be successful with this, period. And they might have a different narrative, but when I decided I was going to be successful with this, I decided one of the things that I needed to do was I was going to need to change my habits. I was going to need to change my schedule. So staying up all night and playing video games, watching aimless TV, and eating crappy food till, all hours of the morning. I wasn't going to do that anymore. Going out to bars and partying, or I was focused. I was so laser focused on what I wanted and what it took to get it. And so there was this disconnect, because now I wasn't being involved in all the things that I previously had been involved in. I was changing because I desire to change. And if you desire a change in your life, then you have to change. And most people aren't willing to do that. They want to change without changing. I want to stay the same person. I want all my relationships the same. I want everything to stay like hunky-dory, but I also want to make $3 million a year and have to answer to nobody. Like, that's sometimes how people think. So I started changing, and I sat down with a lot of them and I said, listen, this is where I'm going in this company. I just want to let you know so you can get in the system if you want to. No, man, not gonna have anything to do with that. Okay, well, I just wanted to let you know. So it's not that don't hear me that I enjoyed losing my friends. Oh my goodness. It was to this day, the most challenging part about my entire Isogenics journey was losing that core group of guys that I really wanted. But the bottom line is, and I asked myself this, because I wasn't doing anything wrong. Okay. I was not doing anything wrong. I wasn't blowing this up in their face or nagging them, nonstop about join my team, drink my shakes. Wasn't doing any of that. And none of them stood there and applauded me. None of them stood there and asked me how it was going, what my goals were. They all just left. And so one of the things that I asked myself was, were they really my friends? If I start to pursue something that might be different than what my friend is pursuing, not good or bad, just different, and he doesn't stand there and applaud me and cheer me on, is he really somebody that I want to be standing next with and running along this life with? And I came to the decision that it wasn't. That my future, these guys weren't going to pay my bills. These guys weren't going to, hold my marriage together. These guys weren't going to pay the mortgage for my house. So why would I let all of their opinions, their lacking opinions, their very limited opinions based off of what they know very limitedly about what I am doing, affect and deter me from really the end goal of what I want to do, which is ultimately helping people and living a full, abundant life, as great as it could be. It's fun. It wasn't easy. Honestly, if I could go back, I might try a little bit harder to have conversations with them, explaining with them about what I was doing. Mm-hmm. That would be something that I would try to do. But I can't honestly say that would have made a difference, because again, I from day one, they never kind of stood there and applauded me or supported me or anything like that. And that's not everybody's case. Don't hear me. That's not everybody's case. Some people, they still have their best friends. I still have some best friends that weren't those guys that I lived with that still cheer me on. They're not part of my team, but they still are like, hey man, I see you crushing it. Keep going. Not everybody has the story that I had, but I was willing to kind of go through that crucible, so to speak, that refinement of having to let some relationships die so that I could accept new, better, wholer, more enriching relationships here in the future.
Yeah, that's great. And I mean, like Barbie said, releasing unhealthy relationships. So it's not that all relationships, I think it's the unhealthy, and some things come to light during that. So that's a good answer. Thank you for that. Yeah. Thank you for the honest and transparent answer. They said, Boomer and his wife, Rebecca. So what is the number one sacrifice that at the time seemed impossible to do? Looking back, you couldn't have succeeded without? That's what Andy asked.
Number one sacrifice was getting to events. Guys, I remember I never got off auto ship. Now, again, I came in Isogenics. I wasn't just making bukus of money, right? Like I got consultant, I lost consultant. I got manager, I dropped off a consultant. I got director, I got executive 11:59 on the last day that I possibly could have done it. So, and then I lost 6 consultants the next week. It wasn't this boo, straight to the top. But I knew that if I ever left a back door open saying, if this doesn't work, I'm out. I can just quit. I can just bail. I knew that if I ever gave myself that out, that the first tremor, the first sign of, doubt or uncertainty, I'd be out. I'd be like, no, this isn't for me. I'm going to save my money. I'm going to whatever. So I remember I had my auto ship go out and I bought my celebration ticket, and I had 17 cents in my bank account, 17. And I screenshot it. I remember screenshotting it. And I said, this is how much this is worth to me. And there might be some of you on this line that say, you know what, this is really worth it to me, but I'd rather not pull from my savings, or I'd rather go on this trip later in the year with my family, or I'd rather do this, or I'd rather do that. And my challenge to you again would be, events have to be non-negotiable. For me, that was the very first thing that Herb Cepeda ever told me. Ever. I said, what do I need to do to be successful with this? He said, number one, do not miss events. Period. You never miss them. And whether they're weekly events or team events or calls like this, you get on every single one. You have to. I said, okay, you're making 60 grand a year or 60 grand a week. That's a pretty that's a pretty easy step, right? If somebody making 60 grand a week and they're giving you their 3 success, rules to success, and the first one is getting to events and getting on calls, I'm like, oh, easy, done. I'll do that. Won't even ask me. So that was the biggest sacrifice, but it was hard because part of me really wanted to say, but I could buy those pair of shoes, or I could go to the cabin trip with my buddies and pay for that. But I didn't, because this was worth everything to me.
Yeah. Do you guys hear that? Passion and conviction. I mean, seriously, it's like, imagine sitting across the table from him, and passion and conviction. Hello. It's so good. It's so good. And I want to be cognizant of time. And James, you just say like, I got time or no time. That's cool.
I can hang if you guys can hang. You just let me know. I want to honor everybody on this call. I'm good.
Yeah, and I do too. But I also so there is one more question in the thing that's best advice for college kids. We have a college senior, female, but obviously college senior on the line, as well as I know talking like spouses that want to. So those are kind of the two other angles I hope we could go briefly. So spouses,
sure.
And both spousal support, but also a spouse where maybe the wife was doing the building, but now they're like, I actually want to build hand in hand. So you can go college route or spouse route, either way.
Love that. Okay, so we'll start with the college, and then we'll transition into the marriage. So when I was a senior in college, my last semester of college, I was going into the real world. I was diving in headfirst into the great unknown. Listen, college students are the easiest people to connect with ever on the planet. Why? Because they're all studying something, and most of them don't have a clue what they're going to do. So you ask them. For me, if you're a college student, Leah, are you the senior? Okay, great. So Leah, in my class, I would sit. It kind of, I know, disrupts things, but I would sit in different places all the time in my class to talk to new people, and I would just ask them. Hey, my name's James. What's up? Obviously they're a psych major too, maybe, or if I'm taking some gen ed, they're taking just some general courses for me. What's your major? Communication. Oh, that's awesome. Communication. What are you planning on doing with that? What do you want to do afterwards? Oh, geez, I don't know. Really? Well, I mean, what would you want to do? Travel. Really? Well, I mean, that's what I do for a living. What do you do for a living? I help people create a secondary income where they can travel full time at whatever capacity they want to. What about after class? We go to the common area here, and I can show you, what I do. In a 90-day period, I did 220 sit downs in my college cafeteria with college students in between class. It's just so easy. It's so easy because it's all the same. It's all the same conversation. I don't know. Well, I'd love to travel, or I'd love to get into a YouTube channel. And now even more so than ever, 5 years ago, Instagram isn't what it is today. So many young people are looking to monetize this. So many young people are looking to monetize this, but they don't know how to do it. And they're writing blogs, or they're doing, photography or something like that. And you find a common ground, and you say, look, I see you have a great Instagram. Have you been able to monetize that at all? Have you been able to monetize your social media platform? I see you got, I always connect with people on Instagram. That's always my first go-to. That's my business card. So that's great, man. You got 5,000 followers. Are you monetizing that? No, I'm not. Would you like to? Oh yeah, I'd love to. Oh my gosh, I could show you how. It'd be so easy. So what I did was I just had conversations with all of these college students. It's like going to a fish farm, and there are all of these fish in a little bowl, and you just cast your line in there. Now, I will say that they're in a different place of life, right? So some of them, their parents might be paying for their product. Some of them might be, you know, in a different place, but don't ever for a second let a college student or believe the story yourself that college kids cannot buy value packs. College kids on our team now all of the time are buying value packs. You know how many, everybody has an Apple Watch, everybody has AirPods, everybody's got brand new shoes. That adds up to like $700 and they don't even think about it. So one of the things that, you know, a lot of people say is, well, how do you enroll, you know, poor, broke college students? And I say, well, I don't accept the story that they're poor, broke college students. If somebody sees what I have to offer them, they will find the money to do it. And it will resonate. It will happen. Now, they might not be ready for this. They might not be in a place of life where they're ready to embark on something like this, but it's so easy to have all of those conversations. And it gives you so much of an arsenal to practice how you're presenting and practice how you're, you know, going about your dialogue with people. So that's how I go about it.
That's gold. That's really good, you guys. Yeah, Drew said he needs to go back to college and take a couple classes. And I
just go on it.
I mean, even if you're not in, like, tell people, like, gosh, to do this before kids, in your 20s, like, maybe side until you can do it. I mean, just how cool. You know, I help people create a secondary income. Those are all super good. Good. Okay. So on that,
so
then, yeah.
Finally, the couples. We'll wrap it up with this. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been an amazing blessing getting to build this with Audrey, my wife. Like I said, we both built this separately. We both built this individually before we got started. And then when we came together, we've really had to learn over the past 2.5 years of being married, how to do this together. And in the beginning there, we were both doing everything. So we were both taking on all of the roles and we were both doing all of the work instead of maybe delineating some of the work to me and some of the work to her, whatever she is naturally bent towards and some of the stuff that I'm naturally bent towards. I just got off a phone call with a gentleman who's on our team who's helping his wife. He's kind of like what you were saying, Allison. Just a couple of weeks ago, he kind of raised his hand and said, hey, I want to kind of step up and get involved with this a little bit. And so what I told him was to really, it's not going to look cut and dry. And there's not a basic formula other than this: communication. Communication is the most valuable asset you will ever have when building this business with your spouse. So many times there's misunderstandings, there's fights, there's disconnects, there's breaches in the relationship because of a lack of communication. And so if you can get really good at communicating on a business level with your spouse, then you can find really how you can turn up the dial by both putting your hand to this. For example, you know, Audrey and I meet every single Sunday. We just actually kind of had this recalibration. I think it's good to recalibrate, reassess, and look at new habits. So we just decided recently that we're going to start going on Sunday walks, and we're going to start laying out our week ahead and saying, how can I bring the most value to our business this week? Based off of what we have, the people that we are going to follow up with, the people that we're going to connect with, the goals that we have, how can I bring value to the business this week? Now, sometimes that's going to look like, hey, we got this and this and this to do around the house. It needs to get done. I can do these calls. I have these calls to do. Can you take care of that for me? And I'm like, absolutely. I'll go do that. Guess what, guys? That's my way of helping my wife build the business. Now, there's other times where she's like, hey, I got to go, spend time with such and such outside of the business. We've got, I'm like, I've got 5 calls lined up. I've got to do these. Can you please help me with this once you get back home, post on the team page, whatnot. We're kind of always communicating. But at the beginning of the week, we start out by saying, how can we both bring the most value to each other in this business? And I think that most people, when they're building together, they go a long time without having conversations like that. And they just kind of assume both roles are being fulfilled and that the other person knows what the other person needs and all this stuff. And we kind of get into this dance. And then 2 or 3 months go by and both parties are frustrated. Both parties are feeling unfulfilled and unheard, and they're not excited about the business. And so, for example, I am excellent at product coaching. I am excellent at helping people feel encouraged and, realigning their vision, kind of giving them a psychological pep talk, so to speak. Because that's what my passion is. I love that. Odd is like, I can help you rank advanced fast, and I can cast this vision to you big. And so based off of the kind of calls we know we have, we can kind of tag team and saying, okay, what does this person need? What does that person need? One of the things that we don't ever do is we don't ever make this a competition. So if you're a spouse, we say in our house, it does not matter who gets the work done as long as the work gets done, period. There's no, well, I enrolled 5 people this week. Who did you enroll? Like, what have you done all week? That's not what this is about at all. But we can kind of get in that place sometimes where we kind of start nipping at each other. And I would just encourage you guys to watch when that happens and to not really let that take place. But if a man is coming in and a husband's coming in and saying, hey, I really want to step in and do this thing. One, I think that just requires a conversation with your wife or your girlfriend, your significant other, saying, hey, how can I bring you the most value? How can I bring this business of ours the most value? Can I take care of our Facebook pages? Can I, help set up for our overviews every single week? Can I, do calls, or can I, make sure that people are feeling good on their products and be a cleanse day support? Guys, all of those roles are so critical. They're so critical. But sometimes, if it's not like a Zoom FaceTime call or something like that, we can kind of just feel like it's not as important. That's baloney. Every job in this whole thing is so incredibly important, especially when you're doing a tag team. But I think the biggest thing when it comes to a husband coming in saying, okay, I want this, is to communicate. And then for the wife, for the woman, to have the humility to let him come and help, to let him come and be a part of it with him, and to communicate back to him also what maybe you need and what you expect. It's a two-way street. And I was blessed enough to be in this and to build this on my own, but I've known several guys on our team. They feel intimidated stepping into this space because it is predominantly women, and they don't know their place, and they don't necessarily feel welcome because their wife has never really expressed their goals. They just know they're dashing to Disney and they want to do everything they can to get to Disney, but they don't even know what that means. They don't know how to get there or how they can help. And anytime they try and step in, their wife is like, just get out of the way, honey. I can do this. I can do this. And so let there be that dance. You guys doing your business, I believe, with your spouse can be the most beautiful, rewarding thing on the planet if you work at it and if you're willing to be intentional with it. But if you're not, it can be one of the most destructive things because you're throwing money and expectations and responsibilities all on the table, and you're not including communication. So that would be my 2 cents on how to do that with a spouse. I hope that helps.
Those are a powerful 2 cents. That was super good. Yeah. I mean, I heard communication, self-awareness, knowing your strengths, and every job is important, right? I mean, Jake has been listening, but he's sitting here with a tiny baby. Just, she won't fall asleep. She won't fall asleep, but every job is important, right? So, I mean, James, that was so much value. Like, we appreciate you so much. Do you have any final words you wanted to say, or okay, if not, but.
Yes. Last 30 seconds. None of you guys right now, Brian, Rebecca, Christy, Jason, Boomer, Kevin, Andy, Gretchen, Danny, nobody is behind right now. You guys haven't missed it. You haven't missed it. You are a part of this. You are a part of history, of a company going from 1 billion to 2 billion to 3 billion. You're not restarting your business. You're not starting from square one. You're exactly where you need to be. And you have everything right in front of you with the mentorship of Allison and the other leaders on the team. You have everything available to you. Whether you've been doing this for a week or whether you've been doing this for 5, 6, 7 years, you have not missed it. Do not believe it. Do not believe that lie that you're behind, that you should be at this place and you're not. And if so-and-so just got off their butt, then we'd be here. And well, so-and-so, they went to a different team. You're exactly where you need to be. And when you can operate from that place, your business will move at such an amazing rate because you won't be worrying about all this stuff that really doesn't matter and is just trying to slow you down. So I am excited to just see all of you guys at New Year's kickoff, to give you hugs. And I know you have some of the best when it comes to leadership and mentorship on the planet. And I've just been honored to get to be a part of that tonight. So thank you guys so much for letting me be part of your team tonight and just share a little bit of my experiences.
Thank you so much. So much love in the chat for you. And yeah, if you see him at New Year's kickoff, just go up and say, I was on the call, the Minnesota call, or not everyone's Minnesota. I was on Jake and Allison's
I would
call.
love that.
Okay. So yes, absolutely. You guys, thank you so much. Have a great Thanksgiving too. What a good week for gratitude. We're so thankful for the time you gave us. And I mean, the culture of this business that we just can learn from, across the whole company. So we appreciate it, James. Have a good night, everyone.
Absolutely, guys. Wishing you the best. See you guys.
Wishing you the best. Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.